Hello, dear chess lovers. Welcome to another podcast episode with a special guest, FIDE Master Midas Ratsma from the Netherlands. Midas, thank you so much for joining us today, my friend.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, because first of all, Midas, you're a Chessable author with already 7 published courses, and the 8th one is coming soon. Your opening courses are so popular among Chessablers, and even my subscribers on YouTube. I heard from several people that they wanted you as a guest in this show. So finally, we are delivering, guys. Midas is with us today, and
Happy to hear that.
yes, we will talk about so many things, Midas, today. I mean, I want to ask you specifically about your opening philosophy, how you structure your opening courses, why they are so popular on Chessable. I have no opening course yet, so I want to learn some lessons from you as well before I start my first ever opening. And we'll also talk about your opening philosophies, maybe your approach to chess coaching, the step methods, function in your coaching philosophies, and so on and so on. Yeah, I have also some other questions that I will ask you along the way. But first and foremost, Midas, you're going to publish a new course on the 25th of November that is titled Attacking Repertoire for Beginners, the Jobava London. Right? It's coming to Chessable. That will be published. This episode will be published after the release, guys. So please go and check. I will post a link on this video description. Midas, let's start from there. Why Jobava London, and who is this course for? Is it for beginners, adult improvers, club players?
So this course about the Jobava London is for beginners and for club players. And the Jobava London, because it's a very nice attacking opening where you put pressure with your knight and bishop right away from the start.
Right.
And you can always be aiming for an attacking plan. So one popular attacking plan is to go for fork on the king and the rook.
Right.
But even when the opponent prevents that, there are still plenty of other attacking plans to aim for. So I believe it's very practical, especially for beginners and starting club players.
Right. And I think your philosophy of opening courses revolve around this practicality of things, right? You go for those practical openings directly.
Yes. So what I love to do is when I make the courses for beginners and club players is to also really dive into the database with the games at that level and just check what has been mostly played there. And this way, it becomes easier to find the ways how you can set nasty traps for your opponents. Also you can see for every position how frequently it has been reached. So I can decide which variations to include in the course and which ones to leave out.
Yeah, because that's one of the key things, right? At least for club players, beginners, they need to see positions that there's a high chance of occurrence in their games. That's why you're picking those moves per se.
Yes. Because sometimes it's very easy to overwhelm the students with a lot of different informations. And if there are certain lines also in the course that rarely happen in the games from beginners or club players, it can be discouraging because then they may not remember those other variations that will occur the most. So this is important. Like one other thing that I always try to focus on a lot is the consistency in the courses. So you would always like to go for the same plan whenever that's possible.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So because chess is mostly, pattern recognition game, there's a huge role of patterns and chunks, recurrent ideas, middle game ideas. So what it seems to me that you're choosing those positions or plans that repeats themselves on different structures and different plans, positions.
Yes. So I like, especially in this Jobava course, also there will be around 10 main attacking plans in the course.
Wow.
You generally are always aiming for one of the attacking plans. So if your opponent defends, you're switching to a new attacking plan and then trying
to a different attacking plan
down. You would love to always go for the same plans if possible. and I am quite strict that if I have to recommend something else because the attacking plan is not working in a certain position, then I feel like I also should explain to students why this is the case, so that it's clear to understand why they are not also using the other attacking plan again.
Yeah, that seems to be so important for beginners to cling on to certain ideas, to not overwhelm themselves, but have basic ideas of which plan to choose for a middle game. Because that was my question to you as well. Like, do you connect your openings to the middle games and typical ideas? You already told me the answer. That's what you're doing as well. Also with your other courses, right? Because you published like repertoire, yeah, 1e4 repertoire, I guess. Also with black, I guess, yeah. Can you tell us anything about that?
Yes. So I actually published multiple repertoires with 1e4. So my first ever course was an attacking repertoire for club players with the move 1e4. And then after that, I also made the course for black. And I also made another complete black and white course for beginners, and also a more advanced version with the same moves. Yeah.
Right. So that's one of the reasons, I guess. Yeah, they are so popular because you first of all look at beginner games, you see which moves are played most occasionally. You don't overwhelm them with so much information and memorization, and you're tying it to middle game ideas. But also, I guess you're showing them typical tactical ideas, right? In your course, like there's a separate chapter.
Yes. There is a separate chapter, but actually, in a separate chapter, there's no new information. So in those separate tactics chapters, the tactics that you already learned in the theoretical chapter are repeated one more time. And that's because also most games at the beginner and at the club player level, they are decided by the tactics. And since I feel like those moments are more important than the other moments, you just repeat them one more time to be extra sure.
Yeah, actually, that's backed up by science as well. You need focused at least 3 exposures usually to deeply understand material. So repetition is not bad. It's like a spiral curriculum. It's actually very good to repeat very important chunks and ideas repeatedly. In the first cycle, you learn them. In the second cycle, with new information, you repeat those important patterns again. That's actually great for learning. So you're following that.
Yes. And I guess it's something that we are also very familiar with from our own games, So like if I learned an opening myself 1 year ago, then I really need to repeat it regularly to be able to still remember the moves. And I guess that's the same for you.
Exactly, it's the same for me. So then would you attribute these aspects of your opening courses to their popularity? Because they are very popular among chess players, yeah? You would say this is the secret sauce, basically.
Yeah, I think this practicality, also this focus on the tactics, I think those are very important. And I think also students really like the attacking style, just to have fun, to
attack,
to aim to really get the winning position and not just to play for some small advantage.
I know people love to attack. That's why defensive courses are not popular at all on Chessable, right? So people love to buy attacking courses because they love to attack and have fun, right? So I think that's also a smart choice to go for those repertoires. Well, I'm a strategic player at heart, so if I have to choose an opening, Slav is my choice because it's strategic, it's solid, but it's not as attacking as some other openings out there. But I will try to frame it as well. I will show them some dynamic ideas. Even in the Slav, as you know, Slav can get very sharp and dynamic as well.
Yes, it can. Yeah.
So that's what I will probably do in my next course. It's a surprise, guys, by the way. I'm still thinking about that, but things are happening slowly on that front. I'm now starting. I'm doing my first baby steps to create my first opening course. And that's why I'm talking to Midas today, because he has great experience as well when it comes to that. Jobava London is also very popular. There are already so many courses, right, on Chessable with Jobava. Like from Niemann, from some other people as well, right? It's very popular.
Yes, Niemann, also Simon Williams made a course. Yes. There are already some courses.
Even James Canty, right? Recently made a course on Jobava. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It's so
Yes.
popular also in the club level. To also to my experience as a coach, I've seen it many times. Okay, so that's one of those things that separates basically your courses from the rest. Does it then also tie it down to your philosophy, coaching philosophy? Let's move on to that because you have great experience also as a coach across the years. Do you think working with people, club players, beginners, also help frame your courses, actually improve your courses? What do you think about that?
Yes, I feel by coaching also beginners, club players, you can really see how they are thinking during the games. And yeah, in my coaching philosophy, I always love to make lessons interactive to make the students think a lot. And preferably, I like spending most of the time in on the game analysis because there you go through all parts of the game. You go through opening. You need to know how to make plans, how to calculate, how to apply also the tactics and strategy. Yeah, so I would also love usually a setting where students are already familiar with my opening courses or my other courses, so that I can then assist them more during the game analysis.
Absolutely. So that's your prerequisite for accepting students. You have to buy all my courses, and then I will accept you.
No, it's not compulsory. But what I see in practice is that actually, quite some of my students they start with the lessons after they study the courses. So yeah, almost all of my students are also following
studying your courses. I guess that makes it easier, right? Because you can always refer them to your openings, like courses. Then they learn those typical ideas, chunks, tactics. It becomes easier also, to continue lessons from there.
Yes. Yeah. And during the lesson, I can remind them. If they miss something, then I can repeat those ideas from the courses again.
Right. Yeah, it's so important. I guess also for me personally. I mean, the reason I'm right now here after all these years of 9 published courses and everything, it's actually mostly because of my work with my students, actually, because that's so valuable. You learn how they think, you learn what they need, and you frame your courses accordingly. Like calculation course, my chess crime and punishment, for example, I saw similar, like very typical strategic mistakes in their games, and that led to those courses across the years. It's so valuable. I think that cycle of working with people and creating courses, I think that's a beautiful cycle actually that just feed each other.
Yes. What did you start with yourself? With coaching or with making courses?
Yes, with coaching I started during the COVID times, and then coaching led to me framing material also for my students. Like that's what they need. I'm a big reader, of course. I already read so much chess literature, so I started to gather interesting positions in my databases, like from maybe 3-4 months of time. And then I just saw this, randomly one day, Chessable, create your own course competition.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I already have some material. Let's apply for it. And I already have material on my exchanging pieces course because I'm a strategic player at heart. So I love those positions. You exchange a piece that has long-term ramifications, like this beautiful, the art of exchange. That's why I created my first course, the art of exchanging pieces. Partly because from my positions that I was showing to my students for my lessons. That led to me annotating those positions, just sending it to Chessable, and randomly it was so popular, and then everything kicked off. It was like 4 years ago. Yeah.
No, for me, it was a similar story, I think, because I was coaching quite some students, and then first I thought, well, I would love to make an attacking opening repertoire for them, and then also this way I started with making the courses for Chessable. And since then I just kept on making more and more because it's very nice.
And that is bringing you more students as well. It's a beautiful cycle, You become popular and then you get more students. And it's so beautiful, That's also how I'm growing on YouTube, because I already have so many positions that I want to, at some point, maybe create a course from, right? Or show my students. I'm gathering positions, partly because of my lessons with my students, actually. And that also leads to those YouTube lessons, basically. I'm now offloading my lessons to YouTube, so I don't need to teach them the same thing in my lessons, because it's already there. You can go to YouTube and learn those chunks and patterns that I show you. So I can also focus, as you say, on your specific issues in your games. I'm also doing game analysis as a coach, basically. because you cannot do it on YouTube. YouTube, you can learn all those lessons. Courses, you can learn all these chunks. So also it's easing my task that way to allocate different platforms.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it's a beautiful cycle, man. And of course, it all stems from our passion for this beautiful game. It's just so deep, so nice. We get satisfaction also to look at those ideas and get better as a result. Yeah. Are you still active as a player, by the way, Midas? Are you still playing in tournaments?
Yes. I've been playing a bit more chess lately, and also next month I signed up for an IM tournament in Budapest. So I'm excited to play that one. Yeah.
Nice. And are you using your own repertoires in those tournaments?
Well, maybe I shouldn't say.
No, please.
But no, I do. Yes. In the last tournament I played, actually in 5 of the 6 games, I also used the repertoire for Chessable. I used my own complete black and white repertoire, and really happy with how the openings went there.
Cool.
I also like using them, but generally I don't use the repertoires that I make for beginners and club players so much, because these ones, I really make the course especially for beginners and club players, not for myself. And that's also why the move depth, average move depth is much lower in those courses.
Exactly.
It focuses on a lot of traps that beginners or club players are very likely to fall for, but other maybe titled players they
will never fall for that.
They won't fall for it. So these courses I really designed specifically for beginners and club players, not for myself. Only my complete black and white repertoire, which is more advanced. This one I also use in my own games most of the time, but also not always, because because it's also all out there. My opponents could also, in theory, look it up or buy.
I know, but if they really want to prepare against you, they must buy your course on Chessable, which is actually helping you, right?
That's also true. That's
that's a good selling point as well,
that's a good selling point. If you want to know what I play, buy the course.
Buy the course and study it deeply.
Study it, but that could also take some time for them to prepare like that. But in general, I'm also not too afraid to play it.
That's very good, because I had to allocate at some point, with all this extra work, I just said, okay, coaching, writing, stop playing for a moment. At some point, I want to go back and play. I think it's also important as a coach, to be active on that side of things, to also feel what the students are feeling and so on, to put yourself on their side. It's important. And then let's talk about the Netherlands, because I mean, step method, right? Step is a huge training curriculum in chess. It's very popular in Europe. It was born in the Netherlands, actually. So I also want to ask you about whether you're using the step methods with your lessons, with your students. And can you also briefly tell, for those listeners who doesn't know what step method is, can you briefly explain the philosophy as well?
So the step method is a very nice method to improve your chess with puzzle books, and there are 6 different steps in the puzzle book. So the exercises gradually increase in difficulty per step. Also there are books with for example, thinking ahead.
Right.
There are in the regular books you'll learn all the different tactical teams, strategical teams, and these are very valuable puzzles. And I also used to get those books as a kid on my chess club. I used to make them myself. And there were also the famous periods where you had the steps method exam at your club, and you used to get a diploma when you
Wow.
passed it.
Cool.
But I also still use that method sometimes nowadays in my lessons with my students. And they are making the puzzles, and then we review the mistakes also during the lessons.
Yeah, because it's very. First of all, when did you start chess, Midas? Were you a kid when you started?
Yes. I started when I was around 7-8 years old.
7-8. Okay, that's a good time to start, I believe. Yeah.
I believe you started at 7.
No, I was already. I mean, I know the rules when I was 8, but I really
Okay.
became serious when I was 16, 17. Yes, around that time, in high school time, which was crazy times in Turkey because this one random university exam that decides your life. So you have to prepare for that single exam for like 3 full years. But I also got chess as a hobby, and then once I entered university for the first prep school, I went almost like full-time chess basically, and then just improve like in 2 years of extensive work. But it's a different story. But okay, so step method is, I think one key idea is that also it's a curriculum, so you gradually, like increase the difficulty. But also puzzles are so nice because they are partly human made. Those coaches actually prepared those puzzles for best learning outcomes. We are focusing on the main theme that those puzzles are testing, and also this thinking ahead module, which was mentioned recently in this podcast by Nick Vasquez, is quite effective for visualizations, right? Like you just give you certain moves and ask you to visualize a couple of moves in depth, and then ask you a question around that, basically. Yeah.
Yes. I believe that's extremely valuable because that's also one of the most difficult things in chess to visualize, keep the position in your head, think several moves ahead. It's something that requires deep concentration and also a lot of practice. So
Yeah. Very thoughtful authors as well. I guess they are coaches in the Netherlands, of course. So you can see, there's lots of thought that has gone to each and every puzzle. It's mostly tactics based, as you said. Yeah, there are lots of tactical themes and repetitions and so on. But we also mentioned strategic exercises. Yeah, there are some mini plans, like strategic mini plans also.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so valuable, I think, as well. You're learning some basic ideas, like small chunks and strategic ideas.
Yes. And I remember those are always the most difficult puzzles to solve in the books, because for the tactics, it's quite straightforward. If you see the solution, that it's the correct solution. But for the mini plans, it's sometimes more challenging. Yeah.
Yes, because you even created one more Chessable course, which is very popular. It's called Beginner's Guide to Chess Tactics Beginner's Guide to Chess Tactics. In that course, there are also some strategic exercises, just to create an outpost and stuff like this. Basic ideas.
Yes.
Yeah. That's, to me, it sounds like step, basically. It's just a combination of different things. And you give them also strategic exercises. If you look at my course, it's full of such strategic mini operations. Exchanging pieces, the art of awakening pieces, the art of burying pieces. You engage in very short, like pawn play, to get a strategic advantage, basically. So I love those puzzles, like myself. So I was like,
that's nice. Yes.
Yes, cool. Okay, so then, by the way, you're also collaborating, with the FIDE master Mes van Osch, I believe, from the Netherlands.
Yes. With Mace, I collaborated on 2 of the published courses, and we're also now working on a third one. And actually, the first collaboration, we went together on a working holiday to Gran Canaria. And something that was interesting is that when we were at the airport, we were flying. Then Mace suddenly asked me, "Look, who is there?" And then there was Carlson in the airport security.
No way.
And he just won the Tata Steel chess tournament. So he was traveling.
He was just traveling.
Traveling back after winning Tata Steel.
Amazing.
He was really standing next to us at the security. So that was an interesting start. So the first course we made there together, and I really like collaborating with Mace as an author, because when we were there and we were working on the course, then on Friday, Mace told me like, well, it will be so hard not to work on this course all weekend. Yeah, we made this beginner's guide to chess tactics also, and now we are working on a course for beginner's guide to chess endgames.
Oh, so that's also another course that you're working simultaneously. That's cool.
Yes.
But this Jobava London is yourself. You don't collaborate with that.
No, for the Jobava London, I collaborate with Arthur Matters.
You're a great collaborator, Midas. You keep. That's amazing.
I like also collaborating during the courses. So yeah, I collaborated with Mace for several courses. But I also had a collaboration with Grandmaster Roland Pausers.
Yes.
And with him, I made also the opening courses, the complete repertoire.
Right.
And I also collaborated with Woman International Master Svetlana Zuzikova for the Beginner's Guide to Chess Strategy. So I like it to collaborate also.
I mean, that's a skill. That's a skill to efficiently collaborate with people in those courses. Yeah. So can you tell us a bit about the process of how it looks like? Do you meet occasionally once a week? Like, do you allocate some chapters? Like, how do you merge these ideas together to create a course like that?
So this differs a bit per collaboration. Often I also like to meet together, work on it, otherwise just divide tasks, but have a lot of goals, but also review each other's work.
Right.
Yeah, I like it a lot when also the people I'm collaborating with, if they are very critical, if they don't just immediately accept my view, but if they point out like, okay, this and this should be better, or I disagree with this. Right. I think that's very valuable to make things better.
You get critical peer feedback, basically.
I do.
Yeah, that's so important, actually. So you collaborate, you get ideas from each other, you even motivate. I think that's one advantage. You motivate each other, in this.
Yes.
Because it's a hard process. I know it's very hard to create a chessable course. Yeah, you can get isolated, you can feel lonely sometimes. So that's the advantage, I believe.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, because now for my first opening course, I'm thinking to collaborate with one person. That's a surprise. I won't tell people. So I'm now thinking to move more into collaboration directions, because all my courses are solo so far, 9. So I'm now moving forward. I also want to open myself to collaborations because of these advantages. Yeah. Okay, that's good to know. Midas. So more collabs are coming, and we'll see more of a mess very, very soon as well on Chessable. Yeah, and for the rest of today, you told me that you will test me and our viewers with certain chess positions, unless there's something else to add.
Yes, exactly. So, for this beginner's guide to chess tactics, there are different topics, but in the end of the course, we made one chapter with bonus studies, and there, for every tactical topic, there's one very complicated and also fun puzzle. So I would love to test you on those. Yeah.
Let's see whether I keep my fresh chess mind after years of coaching. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, Midas, the floor is yours. Now you're testing me and our viewers on this position.
Yes. So in this position here, you're playing with white to move, and this puzzle is about skewer.
It's about skewers, you said.
Yeah.
We are skewering.
Yes.
So it's basically white to play, guys. White to play and find the best move, yeah? That's the puzzle, basically.
And it's good to try and think ahead as much as you can. And also pay attention to the skewers in this position.
Yes, okay. So guys, you can stop the video right now, my viewers, and think for yourself. I guess that's not an easy puzzle for us, so even I need some time, I guess, in this position to stop. So yeah, we are all doing together, okay? I can even think out loud when I'm looking at the position, yeah? So let's do it that way. A think out loud protocol, okay?
Do you already have some idea about what a good first move could be?
Yes. So first of all, I'm evaluating the position. I'm just counting material. I'm just trying to orient myself. Like what's going on here? Like gaining information about the details. So white is down a piece right now, and we have to play actively. And the opponent king is sort of stuck in the center, so that's our advantage. We are better developed. Looking at directly like forcing moves like this, let's say queen takes e4, of course, that's a forcing move. But after, let's say, rook takes e4, I'm seeing bishop d5, for example. But even there, I'm not, so satisfied about the resulting position because we are down a piece in that position, right? Even if we get some piece back, material back, I'm not really satisfied.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's what I'm seeing first, like very direct moves, like even bishop e6 check. Yeah, that's a check, must be calculated, just in case there's something. But I don't see anything because rook takes e6. So then I'm now discovering one interesting idea for white, that interesting looking idea. And that idea is obviously rook takes e3 in the position, right? So I'm now noticing, using my tactical antenna, the idea of rook takes e3 now strikes me as a potential candidate. And like
yes.
Am I on the right track? Yeah.
And yes, exactly. So rook takes e3. Also would skewer the queen and the rook. It's not good for black to capture the rook. Why not?
Exactly. So if that, first of all, that's a worst option for black. I can quickly see that, because if queen takes e3, then there's mate with queen takes a8, right?
Yes.
Very short calculation.
So what would black be forced to play after rook takes on e3?
Yeah, that's a great question actually, because rook takes e3, black has limited options. The queen needs to guard rook on e8, which leaves them with the option queen takes f3, to my mind. That leaves them with queen takes f3. Oh, that's the only move probably, as far as I can see.
Yes, exactly. So the queen is forced to take on f3.
That's right.
Yeah, what would you play there with white?
Yeah, good question. So I'm seeing this check on e8, obviously. That should be checked, right? Rook takes e8 is a check.
Yes, rook takes e8, check. And also it gives already the second skewer, right? On the
right, the second skewer.
This is the first one already on the queen and the rook. Yeah, so the king moves to b7. And what would you...
That's beautiful. Now I'm seeing the hidden point, actually. Yes. So rook takes e8, king b7. First of all, rook takes a8 doesn't work because, they will escape with their queen. I don't see a direct solution there. If I recapture the queen on f3, I'm losing my rook on e8, right? So that should be also very quickly spotted. So at that moment, what I'm seeing is, for example, bishop d5 check, but of course the queen will recapture my bishop. The queen is still on f3. That's very important. Yeah, the queen will recapture my bishop back on d5, and black is ahead in that line because rook takes d5, rook takes e8, and black is fine. So what I'm right now seeing is that at that moment, rook takes e8, king b7 is the move. Very simple move, actually. Wait, what am I seeing? What am I missing here? Wait, I'm actually a little bit confused here, Midas. Can you just remove the arrows? Can you just remove the arrows? Yeah. Oh, you can even show us to us. But okay, just play this out.
Just play until
king b7.
Point.
Okay, even this point. Yeah, our viewers can be a little bit more having an easier time.
So here, as you mentioned, taking the queen is not good because your rook will be taken back, and then you're still a piece down, right? So at this point, you would love to win that queen with white without losing your rook. So you would love to escape with this rook somehow. So
wait. But wait. So you're suggesting the move is to escape with the rook right now? It's like
you can't escape with the rook directly. So you should either go for capture or go for check.
Yeah, so a6 check is in the position as well that I'm seeing.
Yes, a6 check. Okay, let's think what would happen if the king would take.
That's a very good question.
now this
Rook
opens
e6
up
check followed by
yeah.
gf. Yeah, of course, rook e6 check followed by gf. That's actually very good. That's the bottom line. Because the rook is escaping with capturing the queen, of course. That's a beautiful idea.
Yeah.
So
but
a6 check.
Now another question, right? What if the king goes to b6?
b6, yes. b6. Well, b6. Now I see. Rook e6 check, queen c6, takes, bishop d5, skewer.
Yes,
beautiful.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So,
it's so deep. This puzzle is so deep.
Yeah. And then it's another skewer in the end, right? So you had the
exactly.
Skewer.
And a6 check, king c6. a6 check, king c6.
So the idea is that you give this check, and now you're trying to escape with the rook.
Yes.
And if the king would move again, you could be winning the queen. So black wants to try and not lose the entire queen. So that's why black can try to block with the queen to make sure that if you capture the queen, black still gets the rook. But now
bishop d5.
There's this bishop d5 and another skewer. And then when the king moves, you'll get the rook.
Yeah. You know what's funny? In the initial position, I saw the contours of this final idea, bishop d5 skewer. But when I came to that position, I just couldn't make it work, you know? Like some part of my brain told me that must be the final solution, like take and bishop d5 and takes. But when I came to that position, I couldn't like quite clearly see how it works, you know? I was a little bit stuck at that moment. Then you helped me with finding this ASIC resource, which led to this key line.
And what I really like is that at the start of the position, you just mentioned a lot of important things that here black is just a piece up at the start, so you should
play actively,
find something strong to prove that position is good. And I see that something that my students are sometimes ignoring. You know, they are not really so much thinking about what the current material balance of the game is, how much they need to prove, but
even in my calculation course, there's a chapter on this goal setting. Like, what is your goal? Like, you have to orient yourself. You know, the orientation step method talks about that. The orientation phase, right? That's what they are speaking about. This initial phase.
Yeah. And that's very important to have a certain mindset during the game. Like, okay, what are you playing for at this point? So let's move on to
one more puzzle.
This other puzzle.
Okay. Wow.
And this one is about eliminating the defense.
So is it white to move in this position?
Yes, white to move.
Okay, so another crazy looking position. Let me orient first of all. Okay, material count, it's equal. And obviously black has this monstrous pass pawn on a3, and but all of their pieces are in Siberia on the queen side, and their king is lonely. So their king is lonely. And what else could be the main point of this exercise, actually? Let's see. Guys, you can stop the video again and struggle as I do right now.
Yeah. Now, so black's king could indeed be weak. Okay, so if you look at this puzzle, what are first moves that you would consider?
That's a great question, yeah. So obviously direct checks like knight f6, but even, for example, the g7 square being weak, right? Like I'm attacking g7 with the knight, and the king is the only guard of g7. So if I'm going for a mating attack, naturally I'm looking at some moves that can target the square on g7 specifically. Yeah, for example, like it will be nice to have queen e5, for example, but I cannot because the queen will capture my queen.
Yes, exactly.
So these are very basic first observations right now for me. Like, can I enter those dark squares around the black king and create this mating attack?
So you mentioned this knight f6 move. Unfortunately at this point the rook will
capture, of course,
capture you. But it's doesn't mean that you can't use the move later on. Perhaps you can still.
Sure, we should keep that in the pocket, as we say, yeah? Deep freeze the idea. Jan Marco says that. Like, you notice something and you just put it in a deep freeze. It might be helpful at a later stage, basically, in the calculations. But what else? I mean, in terms of my piece activity, the rook doesn't do anything on f1. I would like to have that piece towards the king side, but I have no time probably because black will push the a pawn. Yeah, that's what I'm like trying to get information about. It's like, do I need to play very fast right now? Like, if I don't use my advantage, then probably I'm lost on the queen side. So that's what I'm most orienting right now.
Because this pawn is very strong. So
Yeah.
so that's a good evaluation of the position. Like at this point, okay, the material's equal, but black has this very dangerous passed pawn, and yeah, you should act quickly here with white. Yeah, and I always recommend to start looking at the captures first.
Yes, but what's the point of that capture? Like, you see, that's the problem with the blindly following check capture threat algorithm. Yeah, because you see that in puzzle books, tactics, that usually works. But when you're playing a real game, like spending time with every single random capture would probably lead to loss on time, basically. Yeah, so that's why I have to get on some information. Yes, I have bishop c7 capture, but what could be the point of that move, right? Like, what could be the point of that move? I try to understand. I'm trying to divert the queen from a5 to enter into potentially to e5, maybe to g5, but the queen is already covering those squares from c7. You see?
Yes. So, okay, trading wouldn't help you to deliver checkmate on g7. But one question, right? Imagine you could trade, and you would be able to play knight f6, and the rook wouldn't be able to capture you. How would the game then continue?
That's actually a very good point. Because now we also need to see this knight e8 idea in the position, which was totally missed. Now we are connecting dots because bishop capture also clears the h1 square for the rook, right?
Yes.
Like, so king h8 doesn't work because of rook h1 checks. And if king g7 is forced at that moment, then we have knight e8 fork that I'm seeing right now.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, this position turns out to be very tactical in nature, which is not a surprise because they are a tactical puzzle.
It's the tactics also. Yeah.
Yes. So you see, okay, so now it's becoming much more interesting. But the problem is, after bishop takes c7, queen takes c7, knight f6 check, they can still capture with the rook. Correct?
Yes, they can. Yeah.
Oh my god, then you'll sacrifice the queen on a6 and then play knight f6 anyways? Yes. Okay, that turns out to be insane. Okay. Yeah. So then you also see the Arabian mate, basically. Knight f6 check, king h8, rook h1, knight h7, rook h7 is Arabian mate at that moment.
But there's still a knight here on f8. So okay.
Yes, but that's what I saw. Yeah. So bear with me. Bishop takes c7, queen takes c7, queen takes a6 check, queen takes a6, b takes a6, knight f6 check. Here there's a fork, yeah? King g7 and king h8.
Yes. So after king g7, there's this important
knight e8. This is what we saw from afar, yeah? That's the main gist of the position. And after king h8, very important rook h1 and mate on the next turn. This is what I saw. Knight h7 and rook takes h7 is mate anyways.
Yes, exactly. So the knight isn't able to block because of the mate?
Yes. And, otherwise, king g7 and knight e8 anyways.
And otherwise, you still fork the king and the queen.
Okay, this is a crazy puzzle. It's a crazy puzzle, I'd say.
Okay. So this is indeed a very difficult, puzzle. Idea is here to use that eliminating the defender. So this rook is also, an important defender here for black. And once you sacrifice your queen for it, you can make sure to win that entire queen here with the fork in the end.
So it's, that's why it's a combination, because we use so many different tactical teams. So first of all, also the knight fork, right? That's one of the gist of this position. That knight fork on e8 is probably the first thing that you should notice. That drives the entire calculation, because otherwise, why do you give up your strong bishop for that knight that does nothing, right? So that also, I think, is one of the key things. Like, because if you go back to the first position, knight f6 to me doesn't look like a very natural move at the very beginning. Yeah, because what if they even play king g7, for example? Yeah, even if the rook f6 doesn't exist, what's the point of knight f6? There's king g7, for example. So for you to see knight f6 as a good idea, you should already spot this knight e8 resource from this position, to my mind. Yeah, because otherwise I would like to keep my knight there because it actually controls g7. Yeah, you see, that's how I first approached the position. I was like, can I use my knight and queen somehow to mate on g7? So it was very difficult to give up that idea and change directions to that, fork on e8 tactic, basically.
No, it's a very appealing idea that the knight is here and you would love to get the queen to G7.
I was distracted by the idea, actually. Yeah. That's why it was difficult, actually, for me personally. But cool.
Yes. Okay. I have one more puzzle. I will give a hint. So this position looks crazy.
Is it Fisher random or something?
It's about stalemate.
Okay, you don't say. Okay, guys, we are spending the next half an hour here in this episode. Please bear with me. So we need to spend half an hour here. Okay. So is it white to play or what?
It's white to play. White to play, and you want to make it raw. Yeah.
Okay. It's good that you told me, because that would probably take me like 10 minutes to figure out that we are playing for a draw in this position. Okay, so it seems like, I mean, yeah, okay, that's insane, Midas. I need some time here. It's not an obvious puzzle at all.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a crazy position here. And well, as you can see at this point, okay, when you're aiming for stalemate, well, this bishop is currently pinned already. Also, you would like everything to be pinned, and you want to get rid of your remaining pieces. So what would be a first move you could consider?
Good question. I mean, obviously, I'm looking at my checks first, naturally, like rook h5, maybe some other moves, some other checks. I mean, of course, bishop takes d4 will also pin the pawn. Yeah, so if that's our goal, at some point we'll induce bishop takes d4. So after bishop takes d4, even the f pawn will become pinned. So if the idea is to the idea is to pin everything, yes.
And the f pawn is now also pinned.
And now the f pawn is pinned. The problem is now we have queen and rook, even the knight on g2 that can move right now. Yeah.
Yes.
So we have to find the trick right now.
Exactly. So this knight could still move.
Cool. Now I'm seeing something in the position, Midas. Rook g8 check comes to my mind right now as a candidate. So that's the basic idea. Rook g8, rook takes g8, and queen takes h3. I'm looking at right now. Can you see it?
Yes. Very nice move. So rook g8, black is forced to take it, and now everything starts being pinned.
Everything is pinned. So queen takes h3 right now. Yes.
Yeah, pin here. Queen takes h3. Yes. And now you're also forking the king and the queen.
Yes, that's very important. You are in the queen.
Black is kind of forced to take you, and
cool.
Yeah. So this puzzle is not really a puzzle that you would face in a classical game.
No.
But it beautifully shows the idea of.
Can you go like one ply back? Because what if he plays king g7 and sacrifice the queen? We have enough compensation.
And this is actually also a possible move. However, you can take the queen also with the check, and because you're taking it with the check, you keep so much initiative that you can give a perpetual check here.
At least a perpetual, it seems like.
So this is not even winning for white. You know, the position is so good for black that black could even play the king here and give up on the queen. Or black could just choose to take the queen.
That's nice. That's nice. I like this. Yeah, but of course you need to guide us. I mean, otherwise it will take me 10 minutes to understand.
Yes, and actually these last puzzles here that I showed you today, they were just only the bonus study of the course. So generally this course it's very basic. It's much more simple than
Midas. Otherwise people don't buy this course. It's good that you told us that.
No, it explains every tactical topic in a simple way, and then. This last chapter, it's also to have some big challenges, to have some fun, doing the tactics, and actually in the course usually I only explain the theory behind the tactics in the videos, but for these bonus studies, I explain them also all on video because they are more complicated, but also a lot of fun.
It's good to hold their hands and talk about certain aspects. Yeah, that's very important. By the way, are you creating these positions yourself or just randomly finding elsewhere?
Mace did a really great job in creating puzzles here
Cool.
for the tactics course. So we created all the puzzles ourselves.
Beautiful. That's also what I'm doing right now for my Blunder-Check course. Yeah, because the world is a messy place. When you find a position, it's usually there's so much messy information that it just serves like a distractor. So to clean the puzzles, I think it also needs some work as authors. We need to really, really work on the gist of the puzzles, modify them, clarify them, so we can focus on the main aspect, basically.
Yes,
that's very important.
And it's actually quite a challenging task to make puzzles that are of pretty good quality. You need to make sure that the solution also is aligned with the theme that you're trying to explain, but also you want to make sure that at no point in the puzzle there's also an alternative move that's winning, because you want to have just that clarity of only one winning move.
I think that's what separates those very good courses, actually. I think it'll be more important across years because there's so much information overload these days. There are so many courses. So one way that we can make a difference as authors is to really, really work on our puzzles and perfect them as much as we can. It's very important.
And it's a time intensive, but also very much fun process to work on.
Exactly. Sometimes it takes me like half an hour to 45 minutes to fetch one position. Yes. Yeah, I can test you if you want. Now it's my turn to test you.
I would love that.
Okay, Midas, it's my turn to test you right now. Also, my dear students, you can also stop the video. The question is this. It's from my Blunder-Check course. The question is this. Is it safe for white to recapture the pawn with bishop takes d4? Is this a safe move or a blunder for white?
Okay.
That's my question.
When thinking about this move, bishop takes d4, the first thing that I calculate is just bishop captures, rook captures, and I see at that point that after the rook captures that e5 is a move where black is then forking your knight and rook. And at this point, you would love to save both of them. You don't want to lose a piece.
Right.
I see a nice idea here that you can move the knight away to d5.
I will even show arrows to help our viewers.
Yeah.
That's what Midas has seen so far, guys.
Yes. So also the rook captures on d4, right?
Correct. Correct.
Then, when you move the knight to d5, well, black wants to win material back. So if they would take your rook, then you have a tactic there with knight e7 check.
Fork.
And you have a fork on the king and the rook.
Okay.
So that looks just very good for white. I would say you can take that pawn. It wouldn't be a blunder. Yeah.
And here comes my question, Midas. Should white stop at that moment, or can you see one more tricky move for black at that moment when you took on c8?
Okay. So I am now thinking if black potentially has a pawn breakthrough.
Yes.
So I was looking at the move b3 there, but
yes. Continue.
But if you capture the pawn and after d3, king f1, your pawn, your king is still in the square of the pawn, so that shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, you found the solution, but my question is, if you haven't properly analyzed that move, you could have also lost that position, right? If your king was on h1, for example, right? In this first position.
Yes.
If your king will be on h1 initial position, then at that moment, this pawn will be unstoppable. Is that right?
That's right.
So that's why this position is going to the most difficult chapter puzzle section in this course. Because yes, what Midas did, guys, beautifully, is in this position, he found the move knight d5, saving the knight with this counterattack on the rook, right? Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
King f8 is important, by the way. Knight takes c8. King f8 is important because this knight d6 doesn't come with check on the next turn.
Mm-hmm.
Here, Midas first stopped, and he evaluated this position as winning for white, extra knight. But I challenged him. And this is also about this section in the course, about not creating an unstoppable pass pawn or not blundering an unstoppable pass pawn for the opponent. In this case, it's also about patterns, yeah? You saw this pattern, breakthrough pattern on the board. b3 must be calculated by white from the initial position. b3, what's the point? They are undermining that pawn that is getting in the way of this guy on d4. Takes d3. Notice the knight cannot return and stop this pawn right now, right? That's very important. There is no return for the knight. So your king must help stop this pawn. King f1 is the only winning move for white. As I mentioned, if the king was on h1, then black is winning in this position. Imagine there's a king on h1.
Yes, and no, it's a very important idea to check in the end of the
Yes.
puzzle. Yes, and luckily the king was in the square of the pawn.
You see, it took me like 45 minutes to create this puzzle. I worked on every single detail. I made sure there's only a single solution for white that wins from this position, right? Wins clearly from this position.
Yes.
For that, you need to see the pawn fork pattern. Again, very important. When your pieces are lined up like that, yeah, side by side, you should see this pawn fork potential for the enemy. That's number one. You don't stop there. You resist against this early, reputations. You look one polite deeper, but for that, you need to also see another pattern, right? Chess is mostly pattern recognition, like tactical pattern. The knight fork is a potential.
There are a lot of forks in this puzzle.
Exactly. First, because I was lacking pawn fork and knight fork puzzles. That's why I stopped and create my own puzzles like that from scratch. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's a combination of pawn fork, knight fork, and also pawn breakthrough, right?
Yeah.
Three concepts.
Yes.
Three concepts. Not allowing an unstoppable pass pawn to the opponent. Just like that. So in that course, there are 6 different teams, right? In terms of Blunder-Check checklist, let's say. You should see that C, you're not giving a deadly check to the opponent. L, you're not creating a loose piece, or you should be very vigilant about what your move will do in the position. You make a move and you create a loose piece, or you unprotect a certain piece with your move. Yeah, they all go to this L section in the course. And then the A section, alignment. You're making a move and you're creating a deadly alignment that allows skewers, pins, and so on, yeah, with those pieces. And then the F part is fork, pawn fork, knight fork. T is trappable pieces. You're creating a trappable piece in the position with your move. And finally, the P part. You're creating an unstoppable pass pawn with your move. So, to my mind, all chess blunders can be categorized within those 6 categories. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yes, and I'm avoiding a check capture threat because that's the usual suggestion. Before you make a move, you should see every single check capture threat by the opponent. That's usually how it goes. But threat is a very broad category. Threat is a very broad category, basically. Also, if you start looking at every single capture, then you also can lose on time. Yeah, so you're focusing on the recent changes in the position. Yeah. The position is changing after this move. And what is new in that position? Yeah. The new thing is the geometry of the pawn fork. And so on and so on. Yeah. So that's, of course, a difficult puzzle. Just to show you how I create this puzzle, this was the first version. Yeah. So what's the biggest difference? There's a pawn on b3 right now. Yeah.
And Here you don't have the
exactly. That's much easier. That's much easier for white, this version. Yeah. Because there's no pawn breakthrough to worry about at the end. So that's how I modify my puzzles. I start from some ideas and I gradually. Even this version exists, by the way. That's an interesting version as well, Midas. Now I will test you again, right? Yeah. This king f8, knight takes c8, and they go king e8. White to play. That's a puzzle for you. Also to my subscribers. White to play. Can you find the only winning move for white in this position?
Okay. Yes, it's another exciting position here. So, well, at this point, I just can see that I'm a knight up with white. But also this knight looks quite stuck at the moment.
Yeah.
So if the knight could safely escape, it seems like the position should be winning for white. So if the knight moves to a7, the knight is threatening to move to b5 and escape and also attack that pawn on d4. So if I calculate ahead, then black would love to stop that. So black would love to play c6 and make sure the knight cannot move to b5. At this point, here it's also important to see that you can't play knight b5 because after pawn takes, the king is in the square of your b5.
Correct. Very important.
So you could now move the knight back to c8 because now that c7 pawn has advanced, it's no longer controlling the b6 and d6 squares. And then the knight could escape to either d6 or b6. I think most likely to d6 to also go to f5 later. So I would go with knight a7.
Yeah. You see how Midas solved this problem, guys? That was very instructive. First of all, you notice his knight is a trappable piece. We'll come back to it. What if you don't play the move? Are you facing a threat, actually? That will be my final question to you. Let's say you make the most natural move. Let's say king f2. What was the threat in the position? We will come back to it. But Midas' solution is very nice because he's looking at this move, which is the most desirable. Yeah, the knight is surviving. And this forces, literally, the move c6. And then he looks at the changes after that pawn move, like a pendulum, yeah? The knight goes back and forth like a pendulum. And now the knight is escaping, either through b6 or d6 in this position. Exploiting the pawn on c7, just moved, basically, yeah? That's the only winning sequence for white in this position.
Yes.
What's the threat? What's the threat after king f2? I mean, what is black doing?
So the threat is actually king d8. And king d8 attacks that knight, but it also takes control of the c8 square.
Nice.
So if the knight now tries to do the same thing and escape to a7, and c6
beautiful
really traps the knight. It's beautiful. Stuck now. And it unfortunately can't reach back to that c8 square.
Yes, absolutely. And the king will slowly do this, and the knight will be lost, right? We don't want to go for that line as white. So it's very important, you see, in this position to really see the real threat that you're facing, and then take action accordingly, basically.
Yeah.
But this is not a clean puzzle, Midas, don't you think? This is not a clean puzzle because what I'm testing people is the very basic blunder-check process of seeing this line. Right? That will be unrealistic for me to first of all expect them to see the entire line and then figure out this position, basically. Yeah? That's a whole different question. You notice the threat in the position as a trappable piece. That also becomes so long to calculate. They need to see this entire sequence, maybe 10, 15 moves deep.
So, yes, it's very difficult to see that all from the
initial position. Initial position. So that's why I modify this puzzle. Yeah, that's a gradual evolution basically of how I frame my puzzles. that led to this one. This was definitely much more cleaner, right? Knight is safe. There is no breakthrough. And the final one is, to my mind, is the best puzzle. Also the most difficult one. Basically. Yeah. But it connects to what I'm teaching people in the course. Forks, pass pawns, and so on. Yeah. So
I really like the puzzle.
Cool. Yeah, so that's the sneak peek inside my course. Hopefully it's coming sometime next year, but I'm doing more positions. I'm taking more time to perfect it, and we'll be good in the end, I guess. Yeah, but because that's such an underappreciated aspect of chess. The blunder-check process. How do you go through the thought processes? What are you looking at, and so on. It's also there's a big niche in the market, so to speak. My only discouragement here, Midas, as you mentioned. People like to buy attacking courses, tactics that work for them, and they don't really want to work so much on these defensive puzzles. They need to see the best for the opponent and so on. Psychologically.
I feel like this is also a very important skill in chess, and also by nature. A lot of people, they always look at what they can do in the position, and I even see that often even students, they maybe even resign games because of that, or they accept a draw in a better position, because they feel like they're stuck with what they can do, but they don't focus as much on what the opponent can do.
Such a cool game.
So before you resign a game, you want to make sure that you see very clearly how your opponent will exactly win the game, and you don't just want to resign the game because you're not sure what to do yourself.
Yeah. Chess being one of the most cruel sports out there, you can play the best game in your life, you make one blunder and the entire thing is lost, That's why this is such an important process to perfect and reduce those mistakes as much as we can. That's a basic selling point, at least for the marketing part. That's such a cruel game, and you need to raise your floor by going through those thought processes, basically. And so I love today's session, Midas. Unless there's something else you want to add, we can wrap it up slowly.
Yes, it was very nice talking to you, and also doing the puzzle.
Thank you so much for challenging us with those difficult exercises. I was a little rusty. It's been such a long time since I solved a tactical puzzle myself. I have to go back now and solve those exercises.
When you see the crazy positions, it also looks intimidating sometimes.
It's so intimidating, I hope you liked it as well, our subscribers, viewers on our podcast. And please give us feedback on this video description. Please ask us anything, and I will catch Midas and we will answer your question later on. He will probably become a guest again at some point in the future, because I'm just starting this podcast episode. And since you produce mass amount of courses, I think we'll see each other again in the next year or two. Good luck with your next course, by the way. Again, guys, check Midas' new course called, it's called Attacking Repertoire for Beginners, the Jobava London. That will be published once the video is published as well. And Midas, how else can they contact you if they want to get coaching?
Yeah, so I also founded my own website, which is the chesscommunity.com.
Nice.
And this is a site where I offer my chess coaching, but there are also some other passionate coaches there. So this way you can also reach me if you're interested in chess lessons.
Congratulations on that as well, launch of the website. I will also put a link on this video description. And otherwise, thank you so much for taking your time, joining us today, Midas. Wishing you all the best, and all the best wishes for your next courses as well.
Thank you so much for the show today, and also excited to see how your Blunder-Check course will go.
Thank you so much.
Hope to see you in the future.
Hope to see you very soon, my friend. Have a nice day.
Okay, bye-bye. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.